You can start the recording. I think it's
Yeah, started the recording. Yeah. Today morning we discussed about this IBM BPM admin. In user management we discussed about like users group. In bulk user attribute assignment we discussed about the concept of locale. As I said, when like it is integrated with the LDAP. Okay, next monitoring we discussed. Like instrumentation, not much more used. Process monitor, we can use this process monitor. Like it is generally used by administrator for identifying services. See, like these are like process apps which have been run. So how much time it is taking? 26 seconds, 516 milliseconds, 17 seconds. Okay, this is fine. If something is taking in terms of minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, then it is like long running service. We have to like halt the type of services. Okay, this is like how it will show. Next, we discussed about like event manager also. Monitoring tab we discussed like whenever we are working with some UCS stands for undercover agent. Like whenever we are receiving data from the external system, if the data has to be received, so this should be up and running. If it is like paused, you can't start your UCS, no data will be received. Next, blackout periods. This blackout period, you can set up this blackout period during deployments. Like when we set these blackout periods, the system tasks which are executing in the BPDs will not run. The system tasks will not run. It won't move further. Okay, these queues we discussed. If there is something in the error queues, errors will be generated. So there is option for us to reprocess them. We can reprocess it as well. Still not open. Yeah. Here it will show if there is some errors, it will show the list of errors. We can select all this and we can click on this reprocess all. Okay, this we covered. And we are in admin tools. In admin tools, we have the
Jagdish.
yes,
Jagdish. One second. Before we get into actual session, actually, I have one query. Morning, you were telling like BPM admin and admin, right?
yes.
Actually, and I use whatever the credentials I use, I'm able to open. Even if I open BPM admin, I'm able to log into all portals. Even if I use admin, I'm able to start the server as well as I'm able to open all portals. What's the difference between like cell admin and configuration manager credentials?
Okay, okay. So while installing, you have given some credentials. You have given BPM admin. Okay, BPM admin one.
Yeah.
That is for deployment manager. Under
Yes, correct.
deployment manager, a node has been created for you. For in order to like working in that node, you have given the credentials admin. Like this is
Yeah, cell
administrator, that
admin.
means which will have full access.
Okay.
You can't give like your ID while starting your deployment manager. You don't have right. You can't do like such things. Like for example, if you log in with the some of my users, for example, they will limit the access actually. Like let us try to log in same process admin console with some of the other credentials. I will log in with mm, some Vamsi or Vivek. Password is some welcome 01. See here, you can access only these four, but actually these are the tabs which you are having. But can't see remaining tabs actually. But even I am working for some banking actually. In when we open no here, like even we can't see
Okay.
this as well. Even we can't see this admin tool cell. This also have been restricted. Only we can see something called as password management where we can change the password. Only that we can see. Remaining all options are disabled.
So for portals, cell admin credentials should we use or BPM admin credentials, that is which is for deployment configuration, right? Which credentials we should use?
For opening BPM
To
process
get
portal.
no, what are so many portals are there? I mean, so many consoles are there, right? Process center console, cross
For all
admin
the
console.
consoles, you can give the credentials as like admin, like it will work. But I'm bit I think for this performance admin console, it won't work. I think so. Let me try.
No, it's working. I
It's
check.
work. Initial only it is coming. Please check your credentials. Okay. So in my system, BPM admin, if I give this credential for this performance admin console, then only it is working. Might be like while installing something went wrong, or might be like this credential have the access. Okay. So for you, like admin is working for this performance admin console as well.
Yes, actually, I just wanted to like which has a higher precedence, like cell admin or configuration admin. I don't see any difference over there. Like why we had given two kind of credentials there, configuration manager and I'm just thinking about the architecture, like how the cell admin works and config deployment manager works.
Yeah, who is having like higher credentials in the sense deployment manager will be having like full right access.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Like
Uh,
this admin is like part of like users only. Like, but we are just installing in your machine. But in real time, like how this will happen, like once the DMJAR has been created, they are going to like create some node levels. Like in the clusters, like you will be having like 2 to 3 nodes. In the nodes, again they are like configuring the nodes. So it is different when it is like installing in some clustered environment. As it in local machine, that's why you can't see any difference.
okay. So the cell admin is like for only for cells, is it? Like we created two, we had given two credentials, right? One is BPM admin and cell admin, right?
Yes.
I mean,
See
for
here,
cell
while
administration.
while initializing, you can give the common credentials also, but we followed the standard.
Yes, correct.
Okay, in order to like differentiate between deployment manager credentials and normal like normal admin credentials.
Okay. Maybe a bit confusing. Maybe we can talk this offline. Actually, I don't want to disturb the class. We'll talk this offline.
Okay. 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 We are discussing about like this admin tools. In the admin tools, we have an option like some manage EPV. So what is this EPV? Like how we can manage this? What is the meaning of manage and here? There is something called concept of EPV there. What this EPV will do? EPV stands for some exposed process value. EPV stands for some exposed process value. In during development, we will be while discussing with the client, like people will say like client will say like this is constant as of now, but in future this might be changed. Such type of variables in while developing, we will put it in EPVs. Once we kept such variables in EPV, okay, fine. Like business has taken your application went to production. Business has taken some decision like some of the EPV value, some bank constant or something needs to be changed. Then what business will do like, okay, like which snapshot is running for this? Okay, for example, this snapshot is running. They will select a EPV. There are like many EPVs are there in this retail banking process app. Like I'm just selecting one EPV bank constant. Why I can see this EPVs is like already created there. That's why you can see. Okay, see, like in this, there is something called as interest rate 8 is there. So as per the RBI guidelines, they want to like set up to 9. So they can change it from here. No need of like asking the developers to give another snapshot by putting like by replacing 8 to 9 and giving the another snapshot. Instead of that, like, we are having a provision to like for the admin to change at the runtime. So what admin will do like, okay, he will select this interest rate. Now he can see, okay, when from when which date this got affected. Okay, fine. So like he want to like change this, he can click on new. After clicking on new, he can give the reason, variable name interest rate. Reason is something like as per RBI guidelines. As per RBI guidelines, like that's something reason they will provide. Okay, what is the value now? It should be affected to some 9. It should be changed to some 9. Okay. So from which date this should be affected? Okay, we can mention the time here. So if I click on OK, it will fail. Why? Because it is taking current time. Already it got crossed. So what I'm doing is like I'm just giving 1942. 1942 means it is future time. So I'm just clicking on OK. Generally business what they will do like, for example, this new interest rate has to be affected from so and so date. They will put the date, they will put the value here. Okay, they will put the value here. They will click on OK. When they click on OK, so what happened, like this is like new value, this will get affected. So in place of 8 to this variable, initially it is holding 8. Now onwards it will go as 9. So during development now, I will show how this value is getting changed when administrator has changed. But as of now, like we are looking into admin console. So at this point of line, like what you can know, like learn from here, like how to change an EPV value. EPV is something like constant, which is being implemented during the development phase. This constant can be modified by the administrator. Admin can modify these constants from here. You can click on the manage EPV. He can select the appropriate snapshot, whatever the snapshot he want to change. In that snapshot, he will select the EPVs, whatever the EPV is there. So in that EPV, like he can change the values. He can change the values. Okay.
So these EPVs we have to create in the snapshot process manager.
EPVs, we are going to create EPV in the process designer. In the process designer, we are having an option like to creation of this exposed process value.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, fine. Okay. Now, fine. Next one is saved search option. This we can see during our development. The one more difference between 7.5 and 8.5. In 7.5 version, this saved search is in process portal. In 8 onwards, like they changed this to um, this in processing regarding save, like we can in the coming sessions about process designer. I will show how to access variables, some searchable variables. So based on that, how you can search option. Okay, next one is retail banking process. This I customized my process. I customized my something like service access. What is some is there? This I got changed. That's why it is showing here. So if some suppose if there is some service here, except if exception HS service is there, so service, it's loading. See here, when the server is about to down or something went going wrong in the server, like you can see such type of yellowish symbol here. Again it is up, so it went to like up. Okay. When it is up, you can see it in green color. That means server health is good. When it you can see it in red color, you can say like server is completely down. When it is like something like yellow or some orange color, like it indicates like there is something wrong with your server. Okay. See, there is some new HS is there under like BPM training processor. So I am exposing this to as administrative service. Okay, later we will discuss. I want to show you like how this is getting added there. So I exposed this service as administrative service. Now I will just log out and again log in. So that service is being added in my left hand side now. See here, BPM training processor. I can see this service. I can run the service from here as well. Okay, nothing there inside the service. I can run the service from here as well. Okay, this is like how to export service as administrator. Okay, similarly this one is there. So this about like server admin. In server admin we have completed all these options. Okay, these are the options which you can see in your process admin console. Yeah, only these are the options till saved search option you can see. Okay, this we covered. Okay, next one is inspector. What is the purpose of this? So during runtime, if something went wrong, or I want to like see where was the exact status of my particular BPD. Sometimes what will happen, like people will report when your application is production, when your application is in production, like people will report like I can't see the task in my inbox. Already my manager has submitted, so obviously it should receive to my inbox, but I can't see the task in my inbox. Okay, so as an like developer, what you will do in order to identify the issue, you have to like ask the support team for logs. Why? Because that is production, you don't have access. If you have the access, like you can check the logs where it went wrong, or else like in the inspector mode, administrator can directly check it. Okay, this is working, like this is in under which lane. So that is one. And one more thing is like, if something is going wrong, this BPD is causing the issue. This BPD is causing the issue. Because of this BPD, like server went down. Because of this BPD, server went down, or some issue is there. So what I will do, like I will just select this BPD. There is an option for me to terminate as well. There is an option for me to terminate. Okay, right now let us do one thing. Right now, like terminate all the 13 processes are there. I will just terminate. I will create a new one and I will show you how to create and how it is reflecting in our. Okay, in design, let me create a new okay, this will create a new instance for me. Okay, what was the ID? Your instance ID, your instance ID is 2760. Your instance ID is 2760. Come to your here. See here, 2760 you can see here. So if there is something wrong with this 2760, something went wrong with this 2760, what I can do, like I can 2760. See here, what was the status of this 2760? It is active state. The status is active state. Now what I am doing is like, I am just terminating this. When I terminate from here, if I refresh and if I see in my process designer, if I refresh and see it in my process designer, this is 2760. What was the status of this 2760? Like terminated. Okay. Now here there is also a provision for me to delete as well. If I delete from here, this 2760, okay, no more it is available. It got deleted here. That means whatever the things which it is happening in the process inspector, like the same I can see, administrator can see, for all the process apps he can see. But you can ask me one thing, like okay, in real time there will be hundreds of like instances will be created for different process apps. Suppose you want to search for retail banking process, or like where we are, suppose you want to creating one more. Suppose you want to search for this BPM training, this BPM training process. I want only the instances of the BPM training. I don't want like other instances. How can you make it sort among all these? Okay, how can you do it? Like there is an option here like process applications. Expand this. Here you can select the BPM training. Where is that BPM training? Yeah, here you can select that BPM training and you can click on here like refresh button. It will give me like what are the instances that are in my are currently. What is my task instance ID right now? 1 2 3 4 4 are there. My instance ID 2761. Okay, 4 are there. Currently my instance ID 2761. See here, for a particular process app, if you want to like sort it for a particular process app, you can also like sort it from here. If you want from like, if you want to like see the tasks which are assigned to some group or some user, you want to see only that particular instances, you can see. If you want, like you can also sort by date. From this date to this date, you want the how many instances get created, you can see it from here. You can take necessary action on that. Okay, next, installed apps. Okay, this about like it is acting as a similar as a process inspector. Next, I am shifting to installed apps. Okay, what is the purpose of this installed apps? What like whenever you are like deploying something, whenever you are deploying something, suppose uh, so like let us see, like this is my process app, customer request automation. Okay, customer request automation. Okay, let us see that I am in, already have a snapshot, already have a snapshot. So I am creating a new snapshot. As I said, creation of new snapshot, not only like you have to do it from the um, designer, you can also take it from the process center as well. So I'm just taking that, taking a new snapshot from here. So I'm selecting main. I want to take the snapshot in main. Okay, so I'm creating a new snapshot. 2015, some 12 underscore, date is 30 underscore CRA underscore some 02. I'm taking a new snapshot. So I'm just creating. Okay, a new snapshot has been created. What I will do, I just like staging in some, like right now these servers are not at all available. I have added this, I can say it is a dummy servers in our local machine. Okay, so it is asking me, there are already previous snapshots are there, whether you want to migrate it or whether you don't want to migrate. I have just selected the migrate and I have created the installation package. Installation package will also be created by the administrator. In some organizations, how they will like, yeah, developer to create a developer has to create an installation package, then he has to mail admin team, like like please install it in like so and so destination environment. Generally, how the format is like, if you want to deploy it in normal test environment, you can simply drop mail by putting your team and your manager in CC. But if you want to like move it to some QA, you have to like send some release note as well. There should be some release note, then only like some team some, then only like they can deploy it. Okay, if you are moving your code to some prod, you have to like uh, provide release note, you have to provide some documentation, like how you have to mention there how the end user can, you have to take some screenshots and you have to like show it in stepwise how the end user can work on it, so that people can do some smoke testing, they can able to know like once it got deployed how it will work. And you also have to like create some CR for that, and you have to like add some approval. So once after approving by the appropriate approvals, it will uh, go to like deployment. It is going to be deployed during non-business hours. Okay, that is like how the process is followed. Okay, so let us assume that as a developer we have created the installation package, we dropped a mail to like uh, administrator to deploy this snapshot. What the administrator will do, so he will log on to like process center, process admin console. Okay, once he log on to the process admin console, actually once that has been like installed now, so after that what administrator will do, like once this has been created, he will open his putty. So administrator generally use like various tools in order to connect. He will use some putty. He will run some script based commands, probably like Unix commands or Linux commands. He will use some script based commands. What he will do, like he will connect to this dev environment. He will connect to this dev environment. Okay. He will connect to this dev environment. After connecting to the dev environment, he will take the acronym of the snapshot. For process app, you have acronym. So for this process app, what is the acronym? CRA. You have created a new snapshot, but backend we can't see this. Like if you want, you can see it in some internal tables of like our process DB. For this snapshot also, there is some acronym will be created at the backend. There is some acronym will be created. He will fetch that acronym. Okay. Like what this administrator will do, like he will run some commands on the putty. He will connect to the dev environment, and then he will copy this snapshot into destination environment. For example, assume that destination environment is SIT. In Unix, there is a command called as SCP command, which will copy one file to another file. He will copy to destination environment. After that, after copying to destination environment, he will just click on there. He is having an option to like he will be having one command in Unix level, like to run the script. So he will run it. Once he run this, what will happen, like the snapshot which we taken, the CRA, this will come to initially to active. Initially this will come like active. So once after being active, the next step is only like the active default snapshot will be at any time. Only the active default snapshot will be running, not the active snapshot. If you say not the active snapshot will be running, always the active default snapshot will be running. So this is the CRA DB. This is active. If it is active, like it won't run. Like the default snapshot which is running in your runtime boxes, default. So I'm making it again default. So once I make this as, if you can see here, earlier this is active default. Now this is like active default. Now this application, this snapshot is going to be executed in your runtime box. Okay. So from this, what we learned would be only one if there are like 100 process apps, 100 process apps are running. Okay. So which snapshot is running in 100 process apps? Always active default snapshot will run. Okay. So like you can inactivate or deactivate the previous snapshot. You can ask the administrator deactivate the previous snapshot. In some scenarios, if it is really required, you can ask the administrator, if the snapshot is really required for you. You can ask him to like put it in active mode. Okay. So what is the purpose if I put this in active mode? If some process app is calling or some external system is calling, they want to actually hit this one. They don't want to hit the active default. In such scenarios, what they will do, like they will call with respect to snapshot name. When they call with respect to snapshot name, that snapshot should be in active state. Then this will be called, this will be getting executed. If there is any such scenario, you will ask your administrator, please don't deactivate the previous snapshot. Please make the previous snapshot just active. Okay. If you don't mention anything, generally what he will do, like he will deactivate the previous snapshot. He will deactivate the previous snapshot. Okay. So while creating an installation package, you already selected the migrate in-flight data. For example, you forgot to select the migrate in-flight migration during installation. So admin has to explicitly will do this by using this option. It will take some time to populate. So by using this option, migrate in-flight data, admin will your administrator will do the instance migration here. Okay. Next one is sync settings. In sync settings, no, for example, in the previous snapshot, you have something like variables or something, EPVs or something are there. But in this snapshot, like you have removed that. In this snapshot, you have removed or you have added. So both should be in sync. Otherwise something went wrong, your migration will get failed. So prior to doing this migration, like if it is required, he will do the sync. When it is sync, no, so it will override. If something is mismatching from the previous snapshot, this snapshot, he will override. Or you explicitly you have done the override job in your process app itself, then you should not ask to do the sync settings. While you are dropping a mail to your administrator, you have to mention these items like please deploy this snapshot in SIT environment. Next, please migrate the instances. If there are any instances, please migrate. Please do the sync settings. Okay, these are the options which we are and please deactivate the older snapshots. This is like the format which you are going to follow while dropping a mail. So if you don't mention the sync settings, won't do. If you mention the sync settings, he will do. Okay. Next, update tracking definitions. As of now, like as I said, there are like two servers internally. One is like process server, other one is performance data warehouse server. While explaining the architecture, I have shown you in the process center box also you are having two servers, process center server and performance data warehouse server. What this performance data warehouse server will do? It will track the data and generate the reports. It will track the data and generate the reports. Like in order to update, like when you are working with some such trackings are there in your project, offline, you can mention in your like release note or like in your deployment mail, like please update the tracking definitions. Okay. Okay, I hope this you all understood. So only one snapshot will be active default that is running. Snapshots can be in active state. Next, here you can see something like exposing tab. Here you can see something like exposing tab. Like you can see like this UCS are created. UCS are like integrating with the external system. Whenever message has been posted by the external system, in order to like receive that message, so you can see this EPVs. Next, default BPD event is suppose if you exposed some BPD or if you exposed some services, you can see from here. If you exposed some BPD or if you exposed some services, if you exposed from UCA or web services, You can see it from here. Okay. Next, team bindings. Okay. In IBM BPM, like there is a provision, like you did something wrong in your teams while you are creating some teams. You have done something wrong, like, or you want to like add one more group here in the manager group. You forgot to add. Later, no need of like giving new snapshot for that. You can ask the administrator, please go to the team bindings and add these groups to the manager. So here he can select to like some like something like manager group is there. For example, if anything group is there, something related to manager, like for example, this is the group which I need to add. He will select and he will add here. Okay, we can change the roles at runtime. We can change the roles at runtime. Okay, if anybody asks you like is there any provision in IBM BPM to change the like to add a user or to delete a user or to add a group at runtime? Yes, you can. The administrator can do that. Next, right now like no servers are mapped here, we don't see anything. Next one is environment variables. This is much more important. What is this environment variables? Earlier we discussed about something called as EPVs. EPV stand for some exposure process value. What I said, what is an EPV? Which is constant but it may change in the future. Similarly, what is this environment variable? Environment variables is say this is not at all related to your business. Your business, this is not your business variable. This is related to the environment. For example, I am moving from dev environment to test environment. Can you say whatever the database which I am using, the same database I am connecting in the test environment? No, you will be using different database in your test environment. Of course, the table structure will be same, the table names will be same, but database might be different. Okay, if you go to prod, the same database which you are working in the dev environment, like the same DB, it will be there in the prod? No, prod is having different database. Okay, so for connecting the database, we are having some concept called as data source. There is a key. Using this key, we will connect to a database. In the database, this is the schema name. This schema name, under the schema, we will be having like tables. So these are like changing from environment to environment. Okay, this database name and schema name are changing from environment to environment. Is this like something like related to business? No, this is not related to the business. This is related to environment. So you can specify such type of variables in environment variables. Where did I specify here? Where did I specify here? EPVs I already showed you, like where to create an EPV. So I will show you in designer where to like create this environment variables now. Okay, I showed you like EPVs. You can create an EPV from here, from data. Okay, in when you open your designer, it will be open like this. Here you can see something called as environment tab. Here you can add. Here you can specify in default what is the values, in development what is the values, in test environment what is the values. See, environment, those values may be changing. So I will put like this. So something in dev environment, now this is the admin console related to dev environment. That's why this is showing schema is JEE. It is showing the details related to some dev environment for a particular okay. For a particular schema. If I want why it is here it is 3 and here it is showing JE. Why it is JE? Like later I overwritten here JE for some other session actually. So you can so for example you have written 3 initially something like this. So you want like you later you came to know like you got some issue in the test environment. Those guys saying like it's not working, your application is not working. You came to know like okay, the schema name which you provided is wrong, this is not 3, this is something like some ABC. Then you can ask your administrator, then the administrator will click on your active default snapshot. He will go to like after clicking, see here, administrator will click on your active default snapshot. This is your active default snapshot. He will click on here, he will go to the environments tab. Under environment tab he can change this, so once this has been changed, this will automatically affected. Immediately this will get affected. See here, I'm just unchecking and again checking here. This immediately get affected. So what is the difference you identified between EPV and ENV in terms of administration side? So EPV is related to business constant, I said. Environment is related to some environment side. In EPV, there is some, you can say, so from so and so date, I can schedule it. But environment variable, there is no scheduler here. So the time when you change it, it will be automatically get affected. Okay, related to the business. So business, based upon that business decision, they has to schedule. So one point here we need to understand is like EPVs can be scheduled, ENVs cannot be scheduled. Environment variables cannot be scheduled. So this is not required event subscriptions. Okay, these are like the tabs which we have seen in this install apps. This is like how the administrator will do the post. Here, do you have any questions, Vivek or Vamsi?
Yeah, Jagdish, I was about to ask you something. See, when you open the designer,
Okay,
there were like when it comes to environment variables, right? This all
yes.
default development test stage and all you created it, it came by default.
No, I have created. Initially, you can see empty. See here,
Even the columns,
BPM
everything will
training.
be
I
empty,
think this
right?
is the new process app. So if I go to environment, nothing is there here.
No, no. So even that's what I'm telling. Like default development test stage production all there, right? That it came by default, right? Like
Yeah,
not the values I'm talking,
yeah.
but the
It came by
columns are.
default. So based on this, it will reflect. Like whenever you are like creating some environment, administrator when creating some test environment, he will link here. He will map here internally at the backend. Whenever he is creating some environment for QA, one environment or 10 environments he is creating for QA, that will be linked to here. Whenever he is creating some environment for prod, so he that will be
Mhm.
linked to here.
Okay. So how you know like current one is linked to development? Whatever server you're using,
Like
like
the
you ca you
JDA connection you are saying. Uh,
no.
okay, let me open this so that you can ask me. Okay, what is your question?
No, like whatever you opened, right?
Okay.
It came as Sri, that's a development server, right? Like whatever you created in our local by default, it's a development. Is that the one? That's my
Yeah.
question. Like,
Default is development. Yes, right.
no, no, not that one. Like we install server in our local machine, right? So
Yes.
that is a development environment. That's
No,
why
no,
the
no.
values which you
Right now, in process admin console, I am opening admin console which is related to the development. That's why I can see the variables which are related to development only.
okay. Is there a provision like we can see the things which are related to test also like in the same
No,
process
you can't
admin?
see. You have to open the process admin console of test environment. Then only you can see.
No, how that interrelated with these things like how they are interrelated with
Yeah, these
process
are
designer.
interrelated actually. While creating a environment, it will automatically catch it. If you want that, if your system is like you are having like much more GB, like much more RAM, you can do one thing. While installing, you have selected process center, right?
Yes.
Initial typical installation. Do with like process
Yes,
server.
yes.
Create a process server.
Okay.
So like in the
Mm-hmm.
drop down, it will ask whether it is which type of server. You just select some test environment. Here in the drop down, you can see like test stage and prod. If you select some test, it will be automatically linked to the test.
Okay.
You can create one more server. In that server, like you can like select stage. So what are the environment variables you have written here? Like these are online servers we can create, but on the offline, like that will be like stuff which is going to take care by the admin team. I'm also not aware of like how they are creating online offline servers, but online servers you can. Anyway, we do have like software like you can like create some process server.
Okay, got it.
Provided that, see here, like you should not put much more load on your PC. Like if you are having like RAM size of more than like 8 GB, like it is good to go with.
Okay, fine. This test and all like process servers, the dev one is a process center server, right?
Yeah, this is process center. These are all process servers.
Yeah, got it. Okay. Thanks, Yogesh.
Yep, right. Okay, this about like process admin console. We covered most of the things. Of course, this is not at all related to like our job, but by knowing itself is very important. Why? Because something is going wrong or something we forgot, like no need to like worry about. Like if you know all these features, you can directly ask your administrator to change this. Okay, this is about like process admin console. We covered process center console and process admin console. Next one is like performance admin console. This generally like we won't use much this one, performance admin console. Okay, so like this performance admin console like contains some queues, like when this performance admin console will come into picture in your process center or in your process server. You will be having like two servers. One is like process center server, other one is like performance data warehouse server. So which the console which is maintaining that server, like this is the console which you can see the information related to that. So like if it is tracking something, how many are in the queue, you can see. If there is like something went wrong, something are errors are there, you can see like how many went wrong, or some how many are like during some during some performance tracking, while creating some reports, like something went wrong, you can see list of errors here. So what the administrator will do, like he will check all this, he will click on like a reprocess all or reprocess the checked ones. So if there are like any errors, you can see it from the view errors. You can see it from here, view errors. Next one is like view statistics. In view statistics, no, like you can see complete information related to here. This is much more important. Generally, like later what happened, no, like in most of the organizations, they are not at all using this tracking. Why? Because tracking is creating some performance issues. Like most of the people are not at all using this tracking. That's why like even if you in your organization, if there is some restriction like tracking is disabled while creating some applications, like you will not get much more time, like you will not get like anything related to this performance admin console. Never look into this console. Okay, in this it will give me like how many tracking groups are there, how many tracking fields are there, how many tracking points are there. So all these figures which it is showing, like during development, so we are having something related to tracking. So if I am creating some bpd, if I am creating some bpd, see here, if I okay, see here, this is like something which is uh, connection to the server is very low or something went wrong. That's why it is showing in yellowish color. So when it is something like this yellowish, no, like whenever you save, no, it will take much more time. Okay, see here tracking is disabled. Here tracking is disabled. By default, if I create a new BPD, tracking will be enabled. So these are like when you check this tracking, that transformation will be going on. Like whenever your process server is executing something, your performance data warehouse will keep on tracking. Okay, your performance data warehouse will keep on tracking. And there is also if I go to like events, if I use some intermediate event at anywhere in your process, if you go here, you can see something called as tracking. You can see something called as tracking. This is like your tracking event. So what is this tracking event means? You can put somewhere, for example, something is going, people are entering some online details, some examination notification has been released, people are entering some online details. So initially, like what we given like people who are having like 60 percentage are eligible for this exam, so people are keep on applying. So in the process at the middle, we use some tracking event. So this is tracking the percentages. So later you want like you want to track only like the percentage which are having like more than 70 only, like you want to increase the cutoff limit like to 70. So you can use the tracking limit, you can track all the like records whichever it is having like more than 70. In such scenarios, you will use this tracking events and tracking points. So those information you can see here, like how many like tracking points are there, how many tracking fields are there, how many tracking groups are created. All this information you can see. So whenever you use this tracking event, no, in the implementation you can see tracking groups. From here you can create the tracking group. So it is showing how many tracking groups are there in my process apps. So how many snapshots like having tracking, like how many tasks are there, how many timing interval, complete information, it will be shown in this statistics. Next one is instrumentation, like process server, no, like for this performance server, performance during data transfer, whenever it is generating some reports, you can see like what are the various types of activities, how it is taking, like what is the count value, everything information you can see it from here. So as per the best practices in most of the organization, they are not at all using this performance admin console. Like they are suggesting the developers like to always uncheck this auto tracking. Don't check this auto tracking. So during development, I will explain you in best practices. We are having one class regarding best practice and coding guidelines to be followed. During that session, I will explain like what are the problems which we are facing currently because of this tracking. Okay. So
Jagdish,
this, yes.
let's say there is some dashboard reporting is needed, like how many tasks are processed for this particular process
Yeah, you can create some
subsystem.
dashboard. Yes, you can.
So does that gets created based upon this database, Performance DB?
Yeah, you can track it and you can do that. But later, know what how people are doing is like something, if you want to like create some dashboard, they are taking that information from local DB. They are trying to show it in like some tabular format. If you want to something to be shown in the dashboard, like something like bar graph or pie chart and all, you have to take it from this performance DB. We are having like something like scoreboards and all. You can implement them and you can show it on the screen. You can create some tracking groups in the process portal. You will be having like a dashboards where you can show all that information.
Okay, so is it out of the box objects or we have to write scripts?
We have to write the scripts. There is for whenever we are updating some tracking definition, for that we are having an option like here update. So we can see during our development that how to create a simple chart. I will explain you that. Actually, there will be some scoreboard creation will be there. I hope in 8.5 that got removed. Like if you are interested, like once after the completion of the sessions, I can open in 7.5 and I can show you like how to create a scoreboard, how to create the charts and all. Okay, this about like not discussing much more about this performance admin console. As a developer, like we will never get an access to this performance admin console. Okay. Next type of console is like process portal. Process, we discussed this admin console, performance admin console, process center console is completed. Next one is process portal. Process portal I am not discussing. Why? Because in when we are working everything on the process designer, all the tasks will be created in the process portal only. Every time we will be looking into process portal, we will be completely working on from once after the completion of the consoles, we will be completely working on the process designer and process portal only. Okay. Next, one more important thing. This is not in the part of our architecture, but what we are saying like process server or process center server, everything, all the servers are everything will be hosted in the VAS. So this is the centralized like a WebSphere application server. Like this, you like you will be you don't have any access to this VAS console. The people who are the administrators, generally platform support teams who are supporting your BPM platform, they are like taking care of this VAS console. They will be working on this VAS console. Okay, let me show tell you like okay, this is not a part of the architecture, but let me explain you like some of the features of the VAS console which I am familiar, which I know. So with this, I am completing the complete console related information. From like the next session, we can go with like directly jump into the process designer. We can start building our process, working on the individual components. We can start building our process. Okay. So our next session will be as discussed on 1st January. Like, is it okay for both of you, Vivek or Vamsi?
Yeah, for me it's okay, Jyotish.
Yeah, Vamsi or Vivek, who said?
Yeah, Jyotish, it's Vamsi.
Vamsi. Vivek,
It's
is it
Vamsi,
okay
for me
for
it's
you?
okay.
Sorry, what is that?
1st January. Will you able to attend the session?
For January, yeah. What time? Early morning, right?
Oh, early morning only at 7 o'clock.
Yeah. 6 a.m. Okay, any day fine.
Oh, yeah, 6 a.m. Yeah, fine. Okay. Okay. Whenever you open some VAS console, no, you can see something like this. Okay, you can see something like this. Okay, I'm just explaining some of the features which I am familiar with the VAS console. Okay, in servers, you can see server types. In that, WebSphere application servers. WebSphere application server. So what is this WebSphere application server? This WebSphere application server contains like all the nodes information here, all the node information here. Right now, it is in our local machine. As it is my local machine, I can see only like single cluster member. It got started. It got started. Okay. So when it is stop or no, like it will be in the red color symbol. Okay, let me explain much more detail about this. So sometimes what will happen like there will be some hung in the Java threads. So something went wrong and your server is down. When you drop a mail to your administrator like server is down, you are unable to access anything. Then what your administrator will do? He has to restart the server. How he will do the restart job? Okay, it will take much more time. That's why I'm not restarting. If you are interested, you can do it in your machines. So there is an option called as stop. There is an option called, don't go with like restart or not. There is an option called as stop. When you click on like stop, it will rotate something like some image will come. Like it will finally stop. When it is stop or no, now you can see like something like started. When it is stopped, you can see completely in red color, completely in red color. It indicates like your server is stopped, like you can't do anything. Okay, then once after stopping, no, again he will try to start. Okay, this is like how he will do the restart job. This is like how he will do the restart job. Okay, next, sometimes what will happen like there is something like hung in the threads, and like when even the administrator will stop at the server, like it is not fully start. When you click on here after like 5 minutes or something, 5 minutes or 10 minutes happened, but even that like your server is not stopped. You can, if you can see something called partial stop, if you can see something called as partial stop, that means something went wrong. So in such case, what administrator has to do, like he has to kill the process ID. Whatever the, whenever like you are starting your server, whenever you are starting your server, a command prompt will be opened. In that command prompt, you can see something called as process ID will be generated. Whenever your process is getting started, you, like after that you will get like press any key to continue. You are clicking that, you are pressing any key. So there, if you see there, there is something like PID will be created or process ID. When something went wrong, when it is partial stop now, he will just select this and click on this terminate. When he clicks on terminate, what happened like that process ID will be get skill. The process ID will be get skill. So when you start it, again new process ID will be generated. When you start again, new process ID will be generated. This is like how you can start, stop, or terminate your server. Is it clear?
Yeah.
If it is clear, I will go to like much more into deeper here.
Yeah, Jadish.
Yeah, fine. Okay, you will be having like nodes. Like in it is a development and it is your local machine. You can see only one cluster, single cluster. When it is deployed into some clustered environment, you can see nodes. Something like assume that one node is some 100 A, other node is like some 200 A. These are the two nodes for your development. So each node is having like three types of like one is like app target. Each node is having this information, app target. Another one is like some messaging engine. Third one is like support. So each node is having these three items. So you can see how many this check marks, you can see how many these check boxes you can see total for 100A you can see these three, for 200A you can see these three. So if it is like if something went wrong, he will simply like stop and start. Okay, fine. Even if we stop and started, like still the developers are facing issue, like still they are unable to like start the server. Still they are unable to like
What sir? Sorry, what is 100A and 200A?
This 100A and 200A are nodes. This is one node, this is other node. Okay. So once even they will simply restart the app target. Even if restarting the app target, if it is not resolving the issue, they have to do the full restart. Full restart, or people call it as a full JVM restart. Or to restart all JVMs. Or to restart all JVMs. So what is the format you need to follow? What the format like administrator will going to follow while stopping this? While stopping, you need to follow this format. He will stop first app target. Next he will stop message. Next he will stop support. In this order he will follow. So again he need to start one by one. Starting order is first he need to start message. Next he need to start support. Next he need to start like app target. This is like common standard. This is the like format standard he is following. So when he do this, this indicates like full JVMs restart or like full restart. Everything will definitely will work. Okay. So when even if restarting the app target is not working, so they will go to like with this full restart. Okay. Next, this about like the application servers. Next, one more thing I want to say to you like, uh, for example, earlier I showed you like some data source name or schema name or something. So your database is something external to your system, out of box, or whatever you can say like you are having some application specific database, not your control center internal database. You will be if you are having like application specific database. So when you have such application specific database, you want to hit the database. Who will establish connection? From BPM, if you are running some service, some data has to be inserted into some database. Okay, in order to insert that data to database, okay, like who will going to link between your BPM and database? There will be one setup in your VAS console. There is one setup in your VAS console in data sources. In this data sources, you have to they will do the setup. In this data sources, they will do the setup. They will create a key. They will create a key like this, like which I showed to you know JDBC slash. They will create a key like this. So this is also called as JND name. Once they created this key, you know, so that they will test it whether after creating the key they will test it whether they can able to like connect to that external database or not. Once they can able to connect, no, these people like inform the administrator like we have already created the JND or data source, so that this is the key you can configure on your like process apps. Before your code is going into like some environment, you have to ask your support guy like what are the data source name, what are the schema names for each and every environment. He will provide you the list. Based on the list you have to like configure here. Okay, so yeah, this is like data source names. This is like data source names. See here, I'm just opening your control center. This is the control center. You don't have this many databases. If you open in your machine, the data created and I already set JND. So, like see here, you have only these three and two for like so not total five. You can see this health DB and retail DB. Everything I have created. So this creation I am not explaining now. Why? Because this is also part of our course. So I want to test something. So when I can select some particular JDBC slash CRADB. Why? Because here I can see this JDBC slash CRADB. I am just testing the connection. So what it will do, it will hit my external database. It will check whether the connection is successful or not. It will give me the result once after like checking. It will give me the result. So it will give me if the test connection is successful, it will give me a message like it is successful. If it is like fail, it will give me a result like unable to like establish a connection. Okay, this is one which I'm going to discuss. Okay, anyway, like it will take like 2 to 3 minutes to do this. See here, that connection operation for data source CRA on server node agent was successful. That means we are able to connect with this data source name. So sometimes what developers will do, like developers will do the database integration. So they will get some error like unable to connect to the database or invalid JND or something. Then developers will ask the DBA guy like please check the connection. So he will check from here and he will tell that yeah, connection is good, or he will say went wrong connection. We'll update you like once with new JND name. He will create the new one. This is one which I am aware of. That other one is like in system administration, you can see something called as node groups and node agents. Okay, these are like node agents. This is for synchronization. Once after you have set up something, some new JNDA, you want to like to effect it from now itself. So after completion of that, you have to like after restarting your server, you have to do some synchronization. You have to select this and click on like full synchronize. So or synchronize. So once you do the synchronization, no, so it will be synced with your existing node, and you can run your application like your JNDA will get affected. And this is node. You are having only one cluster. That's why it is showing only one node. So as I said, in real time, if you have like for dev environment, if you have like such type of two nodes, you can see two checkboxes here for both of the nodes. So this is like one more way. Sometimes what developers will do, like even the running from the servers here, like stopping on server, it is not working. So in order to do the full restart, like stopping like this order which I mentioned, instead of like following this order, they can simply do it from here as well. It is a shortcut of that. Once he clicks on restart now, once he clicks on restart, what happens like it will follow this order. It will stop in this order. It will start in this order. Yeah, these are from my side only, which I can I have seen when my administrator is working on. Okay, this about some overview about like VAS console, some of the features of VAS console, how your like whenever you drop some mail due to server restart, how he is working on. This is like some of the like idea which I can provide to you related to the VAS console. Is it clear, Vamsi or Vivek?
Yeah, Jagdish, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, Jagdish.
Yeah, fine. Okay. Now, okay, fine. Then we'll meet in like on January 1st then.
Yeah.